This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyway, today's Monday, September the 15th of 2025, day 258th of the year, and only 107 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio.
Yep. So there you go. Yeah, I know. Disappearance act for a week, but hey, it happens. I told you kind of that this was going to be taking place because we've been gone doing the Conklin Conference last week out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. So hopefully you had a fantastic week last week. My week was kind of interesting. I always love when I'm on the road and I end up getting sick in one way, shape, or form, and then it becomes a hot mess in regards of trying to explain what's going on to people, but that's neither here nor there. So how have you been? How's the last 24 been? How's the last week been? How's everything? And don't worry, by the way, some of the people that reached out, I noticed that our file, I saw the emails this morning, better say. I saw that our file for Friday for Safety FM Mini got stuck, so hopefully it's already corrected by now, and you can see it now. Sorry about the delay. I don't even know what the hell happened there. That's what happens when you try to upload things quickly. So there you go. So if you're new here, let's explain how this show works. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, and then we kind of give it to you in a nice little package form of everything that's going on. So as we do the whole thing, the whole gamut of stuff, we'll talk about everything that's going on. Everything that I can find. And listen, last week was a heavy news week, and of course I was not around, but we'll take care of that this week in regards to trying to play catch up with everything going on. If you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process. Callinradio.com. Callinradio.com. Once you get there, it will actually give you little prompts. Audio, video, text messaging, audio, video, text messaging, audio, video, text messaging. If I didn't specify that enough, it's audio, video, text messaging. So that will give you some information of what the hell's going on around there. So why don't we do this? Because I think that this is important to do because we do it every time. Let's start talking about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as we talk about the trends of the ends, it goes something like this. Notable and noteworthy, a tectonic cultural shift continues to follow in the wake of last week's horrific political assassination. Several musicians took a moment to honor Charlie Kirk over the weekend. We'll talk about that more in show business. Also, Bill Maher Blastos celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. We'll talk about details about that in a casting call. And also, Prince Harry takes a trip within a trip. Yeah, we'll talk about that because that's going to get interesting. As we are talking a little bit about everything going on. So with that being said, I have some people that I hang out with out of Feature Story News, and they'll talk a little bit about what the hell's going on inside of there. So if you're ready for the news gamut, let's do that, because I think that that's going to be an important aspect of everything that's going on. So here's the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunton in Mumbai. US President Donald Trump says that Israel needs to be very careful after its strike on Qatar, which he described as a great ally. His comments come as leaders from Arab and Islamic countries are holding a summit on Monday in response to the attack. President Trump was speaking to reporters at an airfield in New Jersey and responded to a question on Israel.
They have to be very, very careful. They have to do something about Hamas, but Qatar has been a great ally to the United States. A lot of people don't know that. I told the Emir, who I think is a wonderful person, actually, I said, you need better public relations, because you don't really get the public relations. I mean, people talk of it so badly, and they shouldn't be. Qatar's been a very great ally. So Israel and everybody else, we have to be careful. When we attack people, we have to be careful.
US and Chinese officials are holding a second day of trade talks in Spain as the deadline for the Chinese owner of TikTok to find a buyer or face a ban in America looms. The negotiations are the latest attempt to end a trade war between the world's two biggest economies. Laura Westbrook has more.
Led by U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng, the trade delegations met for 6 hours on Sunday. It's their fourth meeting, and on the agenda this time are trade, national security issues and the status of TikTok. Officials are also expected to lay the groundwork for a potential meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping as soon as October, when they are both scheduled to attend a summit in South Korea. Donald Trump has delayed a ban on the popular video sharing app TikTok 3 times, and with a deadline set to expire on Wednesday to reach a deal to continue operations in the US, expectations are growing that it will be extended again. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
President Trump will undertake an unprecedented second state visit to the United Kingdom this week at the invitation of King Charles. The President and First Lady will stay at Windsor Castle during a trip that is expected to include an increased security presence. Nick Harper reports.
President Donald Trump visited the UK for his first state visit back in 2019, then meeting Queen Elizabeth. This time round, for part of his 3-day trip, he'll stay at the royal residence in Berkshire, Windsor Castle, as refurbishments are continuing at Buckingham Palace in London. He'll meet King Charles for the first time since he became monarch. We're told there will be airspace restrictions and police drones monitoring the skies above the castle. The President won't be addressing the British Parliament as the House of Commons isn't in session at the time of the visit. I'm Nick Harper in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. What can we expect later this week when US President Donald Trump touches down in Britain for his second state visit to the UK, this time at the invitation of King Charles? The official events only last a day and a half and are being largely confined to Windsor in order to avoid any prospect of major protests that might seek to disrupt the US leader were he to be spending very much time in London. The firing last week of Peter Mandelson, Britain's ambassador to Washington over his ties to disgraced and deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein mean that if the President and Prime Minister Keir Starmer take questions from the press, the Epstein scandal may loom large. Russell Myers is Associate Editor of the Daily Mirror.
Certainly, Trump is no stranger to questions about his own relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. And I think that Keir Starmer and Trump will have to be on the front foot with this, and an awfully embarrassing time for the Prime Minister. And I think what we'll be looking at is certainly the relationship between the President and the King, because we know that they do get on well. I mean, Keir Starmer made a big show of the presentation of the letter that he produced from his top pocket just a few months ago. I think there will be a few surprises over the next few days, that's for sure.
And as soon as the state visit is over, President Trump will return to the US just ahead of the funeral of his friend, assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. US President Donald Trump says Israel needs to be very careful after its strike on Qatar. US and Chinese officials are holding a second day of trade talks in Spain on Monday as the deadline for the Chinese owner of TikTok to find a buyer or face a ban in America looms. President Trump will undertake an unprecedented second state visit to the United Kingdom this week at the invitation of King Charles. And that is the latest feature story news. Rebecca Bunden reporting.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Safety never sounded so terrible.
Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks. So with the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with Fast Chef prepared, dietitian approved,
and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. Dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes. Listening to this show sounds like risky business for sure, as we are hanging out. So I'm going to tell you, as we are going down this mantra today, as we are 16 minutes in to the top of the hour, or not 16 minutes, but we're 16 minutes into the hour. You are aware, with everything that occurred last week, there is going to be some heavy talk this week, as we are hanging out with some politics stuff. So I just kind of want you to be fully aware of what's going on. There is a lot of information today about Charlie Kirk, both directly and tangent, intertangled with some of the other stuff. This wasn't out of a concerted effort to make it a political show today, but, because of everything going on, we're going to have to talk about it. Rather, his murder has obviously catalyzed an unidentifiable cultural awakening to the extent and impact to which shall we remain to be understood. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. So bear with me. I don't want you to think that it became a political show, but because it's in the news cycle, it's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about today. So as you are aware, we try not to get political, but it is going on. And, as we were sitting down talking with the writers and all this stuff, as the main edits were coming through, we were taking a look and said, okay, well, we're going to reference that, it is kind of political today. Because if you turn it on, if you look at it from one standpoint and not the other, let's take a look at it from the human aspect, not just from the political side of everything. So let's talk about this. In the search for Charlie Kirk's murderer ended on late Thursday when the suspect's father recognized him from a security footage released publicly earlier in the day. Though the suspect, Tyler Robinson, was walked into a police custody that night, according to the Utah Governor Spencer Cox, Robinson has not since been cooperative. Here's what we know. Formal charging documents are expected by Tuesday. The probable cause advocate indicates that Robinson will face charges for aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious injury, obstruction of justice. The affidavit also indicates that Robinson confessed to the murder. Robinson has a boyfriend who thinks he's a woman and was planning to transition, while an apparent lover was reportedly had been cooperative with law enforcement. The New York Post reports that the investigators are probing a network of pro-trans online traction who knew about the plan to murder Kirk before it happened. As reported last week on an X account, had posted on Tuesday that the day before the murder, Charlie Kirk coming to my college is a rally of hope. Someone evaporates him literally, and added in a follow-up post, let's just say something big will happen tomorrow. The whole account has disappeared since then. Turning Point, the organization established by Charlie Kirk, will host a public memorial for him at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona on Sunday. September the 21st, President Trump announced that he will attend the post attend the post award to award Kirk with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Andrew Kolvick, the producer of Kirk's podcast, reported over the weekend that Turning Point had received 32,000 inquiries about starting a new chapter. By comparison, the organization currently has 900 official college chapters and 12,000 high school chapters. Kolvick writes, Charlie's vision is to have a Club America chapter, our high school brand, in every high school in America. Around 23,000 will come true much faster than he could have ever possibly imagined. Multiple players in the teams formally honored Kirk's memory in Chicago for the Chicago Cubs, Kirk's hometown. Dallas Cowboys and New York Jets held a formal moment of silence. Pittsburgh Steelers organized a helicopter flyover. They flew the flag at half-staff. Dodgers closer Blake Trenton had Kirk's name embroidered on his cap, flanked on either side by a Christian cross. The Joe Burrow Foundation fired a staff member for celebrating Kirk's murder online. Let's be clear, thousands of people who have lost their jobs before celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder are not victims of cancel culture, and their free speech rights have not been violated. They were not criticizing Kirk, as so many headlines would suggest. Instead, they are facing the cold reality that people outside some doctrine bubble do not want to associate those gleeful celebratory with someone's assassination. So there you go. So a lot of stuff. Listen, a loss of life is a loss of life. I don't care if you agreed with what Charlie Kirk had to say, didn't agree with what Charlie Kirk had to say. Regardless of you not agreeing with someone and what they had to say, a loss of life is a loss of life. A wife has lost her husband. 2 children have lost their father, and for saying stuff that people didn't agree with, or that some people did agree with. So there you go. A lot of stuff to think about this morning as we are talking through this. Let's continue talking about some other stuff going on inside of the world, because that's what we do around here. We bring it all to you, no matter what the fuck is going on. So let's do this real quick. President Trump has called for NATO's nation to ratchet up tariffs on China to the tune of 50 to 100% in effort to end the war in Ukraine. China is a major trading partner with Russia. Trump says that the tariffs should coincide with the end of the purchase of the Russian energy. Trump writes, as you know, NATO's commitment to win has been far less than 100%, and the purchase of Russian oil by some has been shocking. It greatly weakens your negotiation position and bargaining power over Russia. The president concludes that NATO doesn't take this step. You are just wasting my time and energy and money for the United States. Worth noting, Trump could be setting up the exit involvement in negotiations of the end of the war, especially in the context of last week's events and astonishing cultural offensive against the far left radicals. It might be the right time. I don't know. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are talking about. You know, I'm tired of hearing this verbiage of left radicals, full extreme right wing. I mean, what the fuck? Can we just call people and they have some belief system on what they're doing? It's like this politic bullshit. I mean, I look at it across the board and go, do you just notice that there's a divide to be a divide? I mean, why can't we just come together and have a conversation? And I'm going to tell you, I will never, and I want to make sure that I'm very clear here, and I normally don't try to talk about any politics stuff if I can avoid it. I will never vote down a ballot exactly one particular scenario. I will never vote full Democrat on one side. I will never vote full Republican on another side. I will never vote just because, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, listen, I live in Florida. You know that. And I look at these things and I go like this. I don't like every Florida sports team. Matter of fact, I don't give a shit about any sports team. Let's just be realistic. Give me some mixed martial arts and we'll have another conversation. But yeah, don't care. I don't look at it and go, oh, we can only like the team from Florida. What kind of weirdness is this? If you agree with something, then agree with that. But you don't have to agree with every single thing. Like, do you love every single thing about every single relationship that you have? Like, no. You accept people for what they are. And listen, if you like something, go for it. If you don't like something, don't go for it. You have choices. You don't have to sit there and go, oh, this is the only thing we can do because this is the only way that No. Let's move forward and be able to have conversations with people. Anyways, let's get off the soapbox and continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. Hundreds of thousands of demonstrators attended an enormous free speech rally in London on Saturday. That had been in the works for weeks. In the eerie coincidental timing of the events of this week, the organizers paid tribute to Charlie Kirk across the pond. Depending on your who you ask, anywhere between 100,000 to 3 million people marched to the event in opposition of Britain's open border policies and free speech crackdown. Hold on, that's a big swing here. 100,000 to 3 million? Like, what the hell are we talking about here? Like, maybe we need to give this some other stuff. Okay, take a listen to this. Elon Musk at an event by video. Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming for you, Musk said, adding you either fight back or you die. And that's the truth. He called the dissolution of the parliament and a new election. This is according to some of the news sources that are out there. Also, following a recent drug bust, the FBI used the incinerator at an animal shelter in Billings, Montana, last week to destroy the including about 2 pounds of meth. But when the fan turned on to blow the smoke out into the air, it instead drifted into the animal shelter. The 14 workers on the site went to the hospital and 75 dogs and cats were relocated. The human victims reported headache, dizziness, and sweating, as one employee described it as it wasn't quite a party. I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. Yikes. The staff, on the other hand, apparently had no idea that the FBI had used their incinerator, usually designed for animal carcasses, to get rid of the drugs, and didn't realize that they'd been inhaling meth smoke until after they went to the hospital. The facility remains closed until further testing can be completed. This is according to CBS News. Well, that's a hell of a party, Artie. As we are talking, can you imagine you go to work and they're using your incinerator to cook some meth? That sounds like a good time if you really give it some thought. Like, seriously, if you give it some thought, I mean, that is kind of the weirdest thing. Imagine that. All of a sudden somebody says, oh, okay, well, today at work, we're going to use the incinerators to cook some meth up. There you go.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. A Pennsylvania man support alligator is no longer allowed to join him to trips to Walmart. Wesley Silva says his gator, Janolshi, has been banned from Walmart and West Brownfield after photos from his recent shopping trip surfaced. In one of the pics, the gator wore a gray dress while riding around in the shopping cart. And in another, she is in a harness by Silva. Walmart issued a statement of the ban saying that only service animals are allowed in their stores, dogs and miniature horses, as suggested by the American with Disabilities Act. Worth noting, there is no law in Pennsylvania against owning an alligator. This is according to Newsweek. So there you go. Yeah, some stuff going on right there. I never knew that you could try to use an alligator as a support animal. But hey, I guess that's the way that it goes. Okay, take a listen to this. Former world champion boxer Ricky Hatton has died. Officers found him deceased at his home in England. According to several sources, no further details were given. Hatton was only 46 at the time of his passing. So there you go. Some weird news there. Okay, let's talk about some things going on inside of the box office. The Sound of Music gained $1.48 million, coming in at number 10. And number 9 was Spinal Tap 2. The End Continues, $1.6 million. At number 8, Freakier Friday, $2.1 million. And number 7 was Hamilton with $2.2 million. And number 6 was Weapons with $2.7 million. Isn't that movie already on streaming as well? What else? Toy Story, $3.5 million. Yeah, that's a re-release, just in case you were wondering. The Long Walk, $11.5 million. And number 3 was Downtown Abbey, the grand finale, $18.1 million. And number 2 was The Conjuring, Last Rites, $26.1 million. And number 1, Demon Slayer, the movie, Infinity Castle, $70 million. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of that world as we are talking. Okay, take a listen to this as we get a little bit swampy-ompy for a moment. The Democrat senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy, is talking on X that Trump and his anti-democratic radicals look to readying a campaign to destroy dissent in the wake of Charlie's murder. But last week on Tuesday, the day before the assassination, Murphy said in an interview, "We're in a war right now to save the country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary to save the country." So there you go. A lot of stuff being said, a lot of stuff going on. I don't know what the hell's happening anymore. Is there a clip? I think there's a clip. Do we want to see the clip, or do we just want to hear the audio? Let's hear the audio.
Like we're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Okay, so that's like a 9-second clip, so I don't know if that's taken out of context. I'm just giving you information as it does show up. Also, the federal courts of appeals on Friday cleared the way for Trump's administration to deport about 430,000 immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela who had previously been open-ended temporary protected status visas. So there you go. What else have we got going on? Let's talk about the Dow real quick before we get into our main. The Dow fell about 273 points to close at 45,834. On Friday, the S&P fell 3 points to close at 6,584, and the Nasdaq increased by 98 points to close at 22,141. West Texas Intermediate was trading up $62 a barrel on Friday, and Brent crude was at $66 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.17 on Sunday, and Bitcoin gained on the weekend, trading up just over $115.6 thousand. Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $400 million jackpot, or a, $185.8 million cash payout. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $64 million jackpot, or $30 million cash payout. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about as we are hanging out. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this, because it is time to get into the story of the main of the story. So let's go ahead and do that. Ahora.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, main story time in regards of what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of the way that it goes. A lot of stuff going on inside of here as we are hanging, as we are banging, as we are moving and grooving and doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. I know, sounds like a lot of jargon speak, but don't worry, because we're going to get into this cluster thing that we call our main story. We're going to have a good time as we're talking about it, but there's some stuff to talk about, because we're always looking into the multiverse of ours and taking a look around and saying this, saying that, and all the other stuff that we get to do. So with that being said, I wanted to talk today about a little thing that we tend to forget to do as we are going through our systems, as we are going through aspects in our life. Now, listen, the following that I'm going to tell you, you can apply to multiple things. You can apply here, you can apply there, you can apply everywhere, up, down, around, and so on. So with that being said, we're going to do some changes on the screen real quick, because I think that this will be make it a little bit easier as I'm going to float through here and I'll bring some stuff over. So take a look at this, because I think that this is going to be important. Some people tend to forget some of this stuff, and I wanted to cover it. So if you're looking at the screener, there is a little chart right here. And as you can see, it almost makes a complete circle. And I want to show this to you because I think it's important. So it says the following at the very top of the thing. It says thoughts. What we think affects how we feel and act. And then if you go to the right-hand side, it says behaviors. What we do affect how we think and feel. And then underneath all of that, it kind of sequences to the left, and then it says emotions. What we feel affects how we think and act, and then it kind of cycles back through and it goes back to thoughts, where we started off originally, what it says, what we think affects how we feel and act. Now think about that real quick, just for a moment in time. Regardless of what you have going on, at some point in time, you thought about something and you either got extremely upset about it and it changed the way that you were behaving, or you thought about something and it made you extremely excited about something. Good, bad, or indifferent. And that's the kind of the changing perception cycle that we go through. And we go through this in different aspects of life. Some people tend to believe that, they are the center of the world. And regardless of what they're thinking, that should have an impact of everything else. Now, oddly enough, if you want to understand someone else, you kind of have to live in their perspective. If you don't, then it's going to be kind of hard for you to determine what exactly is going on. And I sit back and chuckle at times and go on how we let our thought processes affect how things happen. Now, if you think about this, especially inside of the workplace, it becomes extremely interesting because people sometimes have a hard time understanding certain things. They have a hard time dealing with change. They have a hard time understanding that life is not perfect. And I don't want to say that I laugh, because I don't laugh, but I look at it and I go, it's very hard for people sometimes to understand what is going on with other people when they don't have the full aspect of it. Matter of fact, I had a friend of mine that I was noticing yesterday made a very interesting post on one of the social media platforms and was talking about some stuff. And I thought it was interesting. I want to make sure that I get the wording correct as I tell you this, because it went something like this. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Stephen Covey. Paraphrase of Human Factors pioneer Jens Rasmussen. You see someone's behavior that appears bizarre or wrong, and that's not a problem with them. Your perspective is wrong. His point wasn't that the person's behavior wasn't wrong or right. It's that you can't pretend that you understand what's driving someone's behavior from afar. You have to engage with them, who work to see the world the way they see it. See what they are stealing and dealing with. And sometimes, regardless of what you have going on, we tend to forget that aspect. We don't understand someone else's concept on what's going on with them. And sometimes we tend to forget that you have to meet people where they're at. Think about that, because it could change a lot for you.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns, and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
They say we came from a stardust, a mix of chaos and bliss. I wanna feel like I'm something. Can you hear me breathing? And if everything means nothing, then only you and me are something. Or we could be a miracle. Yeah, we could be a miracle.
Okay, here we are, 44 minutes past the top of the hour, hanging out on this lovely Monday, September the 15th. Take a listen to Kabrio. This song's titled Miracle. In case if you have not gathered that yet, what I'd recommend is give this song a little streamer-eamer action. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. A lot of stuff always going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's what we do around here. Talking a little bit about everything. We would like to thank Kabrio for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. A lot of stuff going on as we are going through our stuff, that is for sure. Okay, let's continue talking about everything that is going on inside of the multiverse. But let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Right Love Under Harms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to go to is TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com, and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. Listen, you might not need it today. You might think you might not need it, but you can possibly know of someone who might need this information. So TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. Okay, let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do. Insults can be us speechless, or can leave us speechless, better saying, and even cause a lasting effect similar to physical abuse. And now neuroscientist Dr. Dean Burnett has revealed that he claims to be the best comebacks to an insult. In a piece on BBC Science Focus, he says that his comeback can successfully put a damper to someone's mean comments or even reverse their effects. What's more, the 3 words retort might even put a smile on their face or make them laugh, diffusing the situation entirely. Are you ready? Here's the best thing to say in response to insults. Calm down, Grandma. Burnett says the tactic works by making the insulter seem out of touch or ridiculous, specifically if they clearly aren't your grandma. It has the effect of making the insulter seem like a lower status, more easily ridiculed party. Contrary to the old rhyme, words can truly hurt. But smart comebacks can hurt too. Sure beats my best comeback. Oh yeah. I can't wait to try this on my in-laws, is what the commenter said about this. So what do you think? Kind of makes you wonder about some stuff when you start thinking about that. That's 100% sure. So there you go. So listen to this. I want to share this with you real quick, if you don't mind. So after coming back from Conklin Conference, I have decided for us to do something together. if you don't mind. I would love for you to participate on September the 30th on this little thing that I will be doing online for free, of course. And it is talking about signal theory. So I'd love for you to join me on September the 30th at 12 p.m. Eastern for a free virtual event. If you look on the screener, you can go right there, click on it, scan the little barcode, and you can reserve your spot for free. If you're not sure how to find this, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com and go to events. And once you see it, all you have to do is click on it, and it will take you to sign you up for the free pass on getting there. We're going to hang out for a couple hours or so and talk about what the hell is going on inside of the world of signal theory. And, you know, I will tell you that that's kind of what the basis of our signal transmission book is based off. Yeah, there you go. That's the trilogy. That is all three books in one. I thought it was kind of funny. I kind of handed out some of these last week. And somebody had made a reference that it was as thick as The Lord of the Rings. I was like, really? That's kind of interesting. But it is all three books inside of there. That is the hardcover bound version of the whole thing. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's bring some John Small into our life because he wants to get us motivated. So let's do that.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Tristan. Leo Tolstoy said, "Until you do what you believe in, you don't know whether you believe it or not." I love this. I'm sure Tolstoy was probably not talking about starting a business, but that is the perspective I'm going to share. I know so many people who've started businesses. Many of them had to live this thought to get things started. They had to sit down and write out a business plan that they could then present to a banker to get money. Then they got the yes, and that is when the real job begins. Now you actually have to do the things that you say you plan to do. For some reason, when things shift from a concept to a real plan, it can be quite different.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. The ultimate purpose of a covenant relationship is not accountability, but nurture. As a spiritual friend, your responsibility is not to make others toe the line, but to enable them to become all God has called them to be. Spiritual friends are committed to protecting each other through mutual accountability, to be sure. Yet, if that becomes a sole reason or even the primary reason for the friendship, it will not long survive. The bread that nourishes a soul is acceptance and encouragement, not accountability. Lord Jesus, I thank you for the godly individuals who have laid down their lives to help me become the person you have called me to be. You know who they are. Bless them. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma said Republicans sometimes gaslight the base during an interview Thursday on CNN's Inside Politics.
Mullin added it's been happening to Republicans a lot lately and that Democrats are gaslighting this a lot more. Mullin's comments come as Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative political activist, was fatally shot at a college event on Wednesday. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Russian drones violated Polish airspace on Thursday, prompting NATO to scramble fighter jets.
The incident occurred as Russia launched attacks on neighboring Ukraine. Polish forces shot down over a dozen drones, marking the first time NATO engaged enemy aircraft in Allied airspace. The Polish Prime Minister called it an act of aggression. No injuries or damage were reported. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Nepal's Prime Minister resigned Thursday after violent protests rocked the capital.
At least 19 people died in clashes over government corruption and a social media ban. Hundreds were injured, with hospitals overwhelmed by the casualties. The United Nations urged restraint and dialogue to address the crisis. Protests continue as citizens demand reform. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
An Israeli strike in Qatar targeted Hamas leaders, drawing global attention.
The UN Secretary-General condemned the attack, citing Qatar's role in Gaza ceasefire talks. The strike caused no reported casualties but heightened regional tensions. Hamas called it a response to ongoing conflicts. Qatar continues to mediate hostage release efforts. Chris Anderson reporting.
Inflation in the U.S. continued to rise, with consumer prices increasing significantly.
The jobs outlook weakened, raising concerns about economic stability. Used cars and transportation services, including airfare, saw the largest price hikes. The Federal Reserve will review this data for its upcoming rate decision. Unemployment claims reached a 4-year high last week. Kyle Norris reporting.
The U.S. marked the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks with ceremonies nationwide on Thursday.
President Trump attended a New York Yankees game to commemorate the day. Ground Zero, the Pentagon, and Shanksville hosted memorial events. Previously unseen images of the attacks emerged, shared by a dedicated group. The annual reading of victims' names took place in New York. Liam White.
NASA's Mars rover Perseverance found rocks hinting at ancient microscopic life.
The discovery was made in a dry river channel on the planet's surface. Scientists are analyzing the samples for signs of past microbial activity. The findings could reshape our understanding of Mars's history. Further tests are planned to confirm the results. Kevin Sanders reporting.
A New York federal indictment charged a Mexican megachurch leader with racketeering and sex trafficking.
The longtime head of the church faces multiple serious charges. The case involves allegations of widespread criminal activity within the organization. Prosecutors claim the leader exploited followers for years. The trial is expected to draw significant attention. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage. I'm talking truth.
Okay, there you go. Some scary times for sure. If you start thinking about it, don't listen to other radio stations. That's what it sounds like as we are talking. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2021, Elon Musk SpaceX launches the first all-civilian space flight. The 3-day orbit around Earth blasted off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, with 4 non-professional astronauts aboard. The amateur astronauts were Jared Isaacman. I'm going to butcher the last name, so let's go with Haley Ackerman, Chris Sambuski, and Dr. Sean Proctor. So that happened back on this date in 2021. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let's give you some of those. Megan Stellar turns 35, Heidi Montag turns 39, Prince Harry 41, Ben Schwartz 44, Tom Hardy 48, Marissa Ramirez 48 as well, Josh Charles 54, Jerry Dixon 58, Dan Marino, 64. Scott Thompson Baker, 65. Lisa Vanderpump turned 65 as well. Kelly Keegy turned 73. Pete Carroll turned 74. Tommy Lee Jones turned 79. Oliver Stone also turned 79. If you're looking at from some days of the year to celebrate, it's World Lymphoma Awareness Day, International Day of Democracy, Get Ready Day, National Online Learning Day, National Linguine Day, International Dot Day, and National Double Cheeseburger Day. I think that's a day I can get behind as we are talking, that's for sure. So there you go. If you need a rando ando for today, I can give you one of those because that sounds like a fun fact to do. No doubt about that. Leg Day teaches you 2 things. 1, pain is real, and 2, toilet seats are low. Think about that. Also, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. If you could have an unlimited supply of something for the rest of your life, what would it be besides money, hamburgers, scotch tape, car tires, and toilet paper? That's a thought. I mean, think about it real quick. Also, if you need a question for the water cooler, try this. Most people do this when they are awake, but only about a quarter of us do it while we're sleeping. What is it? Laugh. There you go. My wife has like full-blown conversations in her sleep. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so with that being said, that's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out with me on this lovely day. Always a good time when you and I get to hang out together and talk and do all the fun stuff that we get to do. No doubt about that. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big.
And that is the listener.
Without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me, if you don't, that's perfectly fine. You can stay here on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Find a victory in every defeat to remain hopeful, and find a defeat in every victory to remain humble. Think about that. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.